right, guys, welcome. This is episode 5 of the Bearzi podcast. For anyone new to the podcast, my name is Derek. I am a YouTuber, content creator, and aspiring filmmaker. And today we got one of my oldest friends, Ray. What's going on, Ray? How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So this is going to be your first time doing a podcast?
This is, first ever. I'm a noob
First ever?
at this. Yeah, it's first ever.
That's all good, man. Do you follow any podcasts? Like, do you listen to Rogan?
Yeah, I follow a bunch of people, but I can't name the names exactly. I'm on clickbait. I just click to whatever I see.
You're on clickbait?
Whatever title looks nice, I just read it, and then I watch it.
So you're all about the title and the thumbnail?
Yeah, pretty much.
True. All right, so some background information. We've known each other since kindergarten or grade 1?
I think grade 1.
Do you remember?
Yeah. It was like this. It was this like only Asian guy in Brampton.
The only Asian guy.
It's crazy though. Like back then, like I came in to Brampton when I was 6, so grade 1. All right. And there was only like 2 Filipinos in the whole class, and then there was you, and then there was a bunch of white kids. So
Yeah,
a lot.
Well, that was a different time.
Yeah,
because now there's so many Filipinos.
Yeah. No, it was
because
good.
I remember growing up together for like the beginning of grade school, and then you remember when they did the split? I think it was like in grade 6. Where like our group got cut in half because of like a postal code boundary or something. You guys had to go to a different elementary school for grades 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was crazy.
It was what, you, other Brian, and then me and Juan stayed at Fisher.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, our group of friends, we all got split up in, I think it was grade 6. But then we reunited in high school in grade 10 or grade 9, and then have been super close ever since then.
Yeah. No,
that was a long time, man.
Yeah, it was chill. Like, I think we because we kept in touch with like Juan, like a second degree of separation. It kind of brought us together back in high school.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't have that. Like, a lot of people don't have that core group of friends that they grew up with their whole life. And now that I have that, I appreciate it more because you see all these people that you've known for like 25 plus years getting married, start families, and you've hung out with them for years. And it's really nice to know that you have like a core group of friends that you can completely trust, you can talk to about anything. And I feel like that's very uncommon nowadays, especially for kids growing up in the internet age, right?
Yeah, especially like social media, like just everyone just having their heads stuck in the phones. It's hard, like, getting like actual genuine friends.
Yeah, because we didn't have a choice. Like, we had to go play outside. We had to socialize. There was no playing Call of Duty on the internet or whatever with your virtual friends. It was just like a completely different time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's like nostalgic, like playing Red Ass on like the hottest.
Oh, I
remember Red Ass.
That's when you throw the tennis ball at the wall and then you have to turn around or something. No, wait, what is it?
Yeah, it's like you throw the ball at the wall, and then if someone catches it without it bouncing, then you gotta like the guy who threw it had to touch the wall, and then if the guy caught it, then he'd throw the ball. Like there's the safe version, and then there's the violent version.
Safe version.
Yeah, I think the other one was just like tag the person, and then the other one was like whip the ball at the person, and if you hit him before he touches the wall, then he'd get like a letter. Yeah, we should play that again, man. That's like social. That's a social distancing game. Yo, we should play that.
Yeah, that's like harassment, man. That's horrible.
We're adults. we gotta sign a consent form.
Because I remember throwing the ball against the wall, and then sometimes you would have to like stand still and then turn around, so you're straight up showing your friend your ass, and they would like whip the tennis ball at you, right? Because I remember one of them, you had to like stick your face into the wall, like, or like turn your back towards the person, right? And then they would throw the ball like they would whip it, like they wouldn't just like toss it.
Yeah, that.
And they try to hit you in the ass.
Or like some of them were like turn around so they could hit you in the face and stuff. But then everybody just faces the wall.
Wow, I can't believe you remembered that. Red ass.
No, I was a bad kid in elementary school.
Yeah, I think all of us were pretty rough.
Yeah, I remember it's so clear now because it was like whenever we get report cards, right? I know I was a shit disturber. Like I get like C's, D's, and I get like 2 B's, and I'd be so happy. And then like recess comes, because then like you and Juan are like in a different class, right? I don't remember what grade this was. And then I was like, "Yo, Juan, like, how's your report cards? How many B's did you get?" Thinking like, yeah, I'd be better. Like I got a lot of B's. He's like, "Oh, I got 2 B's." All right, or what else you got? He's like, "I got the rest A's." I'm like,
yeah, Juan is really smart.
shit.
Man.
That was good, man.
Yeah, I remember Juan being the smartest out of all of us when we were younger. I remember a story once when we were all playing on the playground, and someone learned what a diss was. Like, you're basically trash talking someone, right? So we were like, quote unquote, dissing each other, and it was funny, right? And then Juan busted out like the craziest thing for how old we were. He's like, "Yeah, well, at least I don't masturbate." And then like none of us knew what it meant. We were like, what the hell does that mean? Like, we're little kids, right? And his vocabulary. Well, and also he won like a spelling bee or some shit. So his command of like the English language was like way better than all of ours. But it was funny though because we were so young, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Like some things still don't change. Like I still think like he's like the most read out of all of us. Like he reads so much.
Oh, for sure, 100%. I'm definitely the least.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely the least. Like
because I don't read anything, man.
It just comes back.
Yeah, that's true. But it's weird how all of us, as we grew up, we kind of remain the same. Or because like me and you are kind of troll, right? And we've always kind of been that way, and it feels like we've always been slightly immature, and we never really fully grew up. Or at least that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like since we were kids, right?
Yeah. Not a lot of people know me like that. It was only like close friends that know me like that. But yeah, like we put us in a room together and we just go full out. Like we're all immature.
Yeah. Well, it's also because we have that close bond of growing up together for so many years, right? And it's weird because we can lose touch with one another, like when you went to university and we all went to different places and we all lost touch for years. But then when we see each other again for Christmas or whatever birthday party, it's like as if we haven't missed a single beat, right? And everything just picks up where we left off.
Yeah. I mean, that goes back to like what you said. Like we're all pretty close, and like I know like I left for university in Ottawa for like a couple of years, but then when I came back, it's like things have changed, but like at the end of the day, like when we all get together, like we're all still friends. Like we know how to push each other's buttons. We know how to make each other laugh. Oh, it's good.
Yeah,
man.
That's true. But it also feels like nothing ever changed, and it's always this different feeling that I don't have with my other group of friends, because I have other group of friends that started in, say, high school. I have another group of friends from university, but the level of comfort between us is completely different. It's not the same. I can't joke with them the same way that I can joke with you guys, because I know that no one can take things personally, and there's no like animosity between any of us. It's just like a different feeling, right?
Yeah, we all have our like characteristics or personalities. Like we're both like immature. There's people that are like some of us like take it seriously, but then we know and they know that we're just joking. Yeah. Not gonna name names, but yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man. Well, one thing I do remember though that I'll never forget. I remember there was one year when we went through that school split, and you guys went to Newman or whatever that other school was, and then I had a birthday party, and then I remember I wanted to invite you, I think, and then there was one year you actually came. I don't know if it was my parents or your parents that organized it, but you came to like my birthday from a different school, and everyone was like super stoked and everyone was like super happy. You remember that year?
Yeah. No, I don't remember that year, man, to be honest. But yeah, I remember like showing up to like certain things where it wasn't just the school that I was in. It was like going back to like visiting you or like Juan. Yeah, I remember those, and like everybody was really excited. It was good, man.
Yeah, so to put some context, so there was 4 of us, me, you, Brian, and Juan. Was it just 4? It was just 4 of us from the very beginning, right?
Yeah. Was there?
Richard was later.
Richard was later. Pedro came in Newman.
Yeah, the other Brian. Pedro came. Wasn't, but he went to the other school with you though, right?
Yeah, he was with me.
Because he didn't start off with us, the 4 of us.
We're gonna get so ripped if we forgot one guy.
It's gonna be so bad. Like, bro, you forget your own friends.
He's like, nah, not coming.
Also, guys have like come and gone, right? But I'm talking about like the core group of just like the 4 of us.
Yeah, I think it was the 4.
Yeah.
The original, yeah.
And then even after that, like another thing that I think that really helped bond us was our love for basketball. And by not having the internet, we all found this one sport that we all loved and that we all bonded and were able to play outside. And I feel like that sport kind of brought us together, and it gave us like a huge topic and, you know, common ground that we can discuss things and be passionate about. And I don't know what it is, but it's something about just being a big fan of the NBA and having you guys also being huge fans just made our friendship like that much stronger.
Yeah. Like I was listening to your podcast with Brian, Primetime, and like the same as me. Like I didn't start playing basketball till like the Raptors.
Yeah, me too. It was the first year of the Raptors.
Yeah, and I was like, who's this? Like, what's this basketball? I like remember so vividly. Like, it was the year the Raptors came out, and then we were doing like gym, like outdoor gym, and we were shooting free throws. And like I could not shoot for the hell of me, like, and I'm small then, right? This was like I think grade 5, and I'm trying to like shoot at the regular size rim, and it just won't go over. And like, maybe this sport isn't for me. But then like we just kept going. I just kept going.
Yeah, we just kept playing, and it was it was a lot of fun because back then it was like baseball and hockey, and basketball was pretty much non-existent in Toronto.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the Raptors came when it sparked everything. And then obviously Vince Carter coming exploded the sport even more by having like a perennial superstar playing for our city. Yeah. But even before the Raptors, I didn't even know what the NBA was. I didn't even know who Michael Jordan was. Like, I had no idea.
Who was the first player that you actually like the name of the player that you actually knew about when you were getting into basketball?
Before the Raptors?
Oh, yeah. Like, on the Raptors or any... Like, with the exception of Michael Jordan. Like, who was the next player? The first, for sure, was...
The player that I remember right off the bat was Damon Stoudemire. Because he was, our first pick, right? And they called him Mighty Mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, like, my hero, man. I'm like, this guy's, like, the best Raptor ever. And he won, like, co-Rookie of the Year. I think... Was he co-Rookie of the Year? I feel like
I think so.
Oh man, it's been too long. But anyway, he was like one of the best rookies of his class, and he was clearly our best player. And I remember just calling him Mighty Mouse, and like, yeah, Raptors.
Yeah, I remember like playing. It's like we were playing with like kids, and this is still in elementary school, and we were like role playing, And then some other guys were like,
Role play.
I'll be Damon Stoudemire, you'll be like Marcus
Oh,
Camby.
okay.
And then some guy was like, you'll be Doug Christie. I'm like, who is Doug Christie? Like, dude, I don't
The
want
light
to be Doug
skin?
Christie. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to be
Yo, I
Doug,
like
I
Doug
want to be
Christie.
Damon. Yeah, and then I found out that he was actually good. And then that's when we started getting into basketball.
Yo, but Doug Christie's kind of tall, man. you would have to be Damon Stoudemire if we were to role play.
Yeah, but everybody wanted to be Damon Stoudemire. Everybody wanted to be
for
Mighty
sure.
Mouse.
I'd have to be the light skinned guy. Like,
Xantaback.
Oh, Xantaback. Oh my god. Yeah, we were talking about that guy.
Yeah.
He's like Croatian, right?
Yeah,
He's like
no,
the most awkward 7-footer I've ever seen in the NBA. Oh my god.
Yeah, honestly, like I don't know. My memory is really short term, but I thought like fast forward like 5 years when it was like the Vince Carter era, and I was like, that was Leo Routins. I was like, he was the white guy on the Raptors team.
Oh,
I'm
you
like,
thought that was Leo?
Yeah,
Routins?
I was like, no.
Oh my god.
So then I looked it up. I was like, wow, I am so racist. That's not good. You heard it here, guys, on the podcast.
So funny. Because Leo Routins was like the commentator.
And he kept talking
Man.
about like in my days. I'm like, in your days, you used to play for the basketball.
Yeah, he played
the
like
Raptors.
back in the day.
Yeah.
And this shows like how much I miss basketball by not having the season or having the season being postponed by COVID. It's tough, man. It's tough not being able to watch a sport you love.
Yeah. All right. So now, like, have you heard the news? Like the way they're planning on setting up the NBA on the return, where it's like, just the top 16 teams.
Oh yeah,
they
you sent me a picture, right? Of the top 16 bracket.
Yeah, and then they go straight to the playoffs. So like the Raptors are gonna face Memphis. Yeah, JV versus Marc Gasol.
Dang. Yeah, I saw that, and oh man, I don't know if that's gonna work though, because guys have been off for so long. They don't even have like a couple warm-up games. You're just gonna jump straight into playoff basketball. Like that's a complete different animal than regular season basketball. It's not even close to the same, right? The intensity, the defense, like the physicality of the game, everything goes up.
Yeah.
So I don't know like how this is gonna work.
Yeah, we'll see. I just picture like chucking threes because they're tired and like because they can't run. Threes. They're just gonna post up, and they're just gonna post up hard. You usually have like Kyle Lowry posting up.
Yeah.
It's because they can't run, and then fouls like on every possession because they can't run transition defense. It'll be interesting.
It's gonna be horrible. It's gonna be really bad.
But again,
guys gonna be shooting bricks.
Yeah, but you never know. Like the role players will probably not be ready, but then like their actual stars they're probably in game shape. They hunger for that, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So they'll probably be on top of it. ISO ball, you know.
Well, hopefully. The other thing too is when I was looking at the playoff bracket, I feel kind of bad for Milwaukee, because even if you seed 1 through 16, they're still the 1 seed, right? But they get grouped in with, it was
Clippers,
the Clippers, and someone else on their bracket, and then Lakers was on the other side.
Yeah. We faced the Lakers in the second round.
Yeah. The Lakers got grouped up with New Jersey, I think, for the first, and then we got Memphis. Oh yeah, it was Raptors and Memphis with Denver and Indiana, and then the other side had the Lakers and the Nets. But it would be weird because the Bucks would have to go through so many tough teams, while the Lakers would just have to kind of go through the Raptors, I guess.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting. I see why they would want to do this. Like, I feel like it's a good way to test out a new playoff format, because that guy Adam Silver, the commissioner, he's been wanting to implement changes to the playoff structure for years, right? He's always wanted to try top 16 or doing playoffs regardless of conference, just doing the best 16 teams regardless if they're East or West. And I feel like this is the perfect moment to try something like that, because like the season's all messed up. There's this coronavirus stuff, so you got to get creative. And I feel like if there's ever a time to try a top 16 for NBA playoff basketball, it's right now.
Yeah, why not, right?
Like I don't see any downside really, because if it fucks up and doesn't work, okay, say, oh well, the coronavirus screwed up the whole season, so at least we tried something new, and then you go back to what works, right? But if you try to implement this during a regular season, like a full season, it's going to be tough, because like all the teams have to vote or something.
Yeah, you got a lot of like investors, franchises, management. They're all going to complain. Some will think that it's good. Some will think that it's bad. Think that the whole season is wasted. But yeah,
that's true
for sure. I agree with you. Like now is like the good time to try anything out. Right?
Yeah, try it out and see what happens, right? But I heard something interesting. If the NBA wants to move forward and change the structure, they need to get 20 votes out of the 30 teams to approve it. And I'm like, okay, so 2/3 of the league needs to approve these changes. But then I heard something interesting on Reddit, and this guy was saying that all the middle tier Eastern Conference teams will vote against it. And I was thinking, like, why would they do that? And then the guy was like, if you are in the East, which is a generally weaker conference, and you're in the 5 to 8 seed, right? That means you make the playoffs. Your organization gets the revenue for the playoff games. But if you are to seed the teams 1 through 16 based on record, then that team that might come 7th in the East, overall, they might not even make the top 16 because the Western Conference is so strong, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit, that's true.
Yeah.
So maybe the East, those weak, semi-garbage teams would want the playoffs structure as it is.
As it is, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like, it's literally like a finals in every round, because you might be facing a Western Conference team that is substantially better than, like, your team, even though you seeded, like, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Like, you could be facing, like, the Lakers. Like, we face the Lakers. If this was the format, we face the Lakers in the second round. Yeah.
That's so crazy. That could be like the NBA Finals.
Yeah. Just give Larry O.B. in every round.
Oh, man. That's so crazy. But I don't know. Like, is this a good change? Is it... Like, what would you do? Say if you were the commissioner and you had supreme power. Like, would you change the structure? Would you try this top 16?
I think so. Like I wouldn't have known, or I haven't given much thought to how this format would have gone. But the way it is, like, I'd give it a try. I mean, it's because of the situation, right? You have an advantage as a commissioner to just try it out. Yeah, there's probably less impacts because it's now a shortened season. But yeah, I wouldn't know what else to do. That's why I'm not the commissioner of the NBA.
Yeah, that's true. Because I was thinking about this, and I'm like, because I'm trying to figure out what course of action makes the most sense here. And obviously, revenue plays a huge part, because all these franchises have lost a shitload of money, right? And they've still been paying the majority of the players' salaries, I believe. And you have no revenue from ticket sales or any of that, right? So at some point, teams are going to want to vote to bring back the season so they can make up for lost revenue and make that money back, right? But do you do it at the risk of public health? Like, what is the trade-off there? And I'm trying to think what makes the most sense. And I think if you were to create a format like this where the top 16 teams play, first, that's a good thing, because half the league doesn't even play. So you have less chances for more contamination of this virus. And if you can somehow make it where everyone plays at Disneyland or everyone plays at Vegas in one arena, and you reduce the amount of travel, then I feel like that's a good way to start to bring the season back. But I don't think there's any right answer, no matter what you do, to bring the season back at all. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I mean the safest bet was like season is canceled, right? But then again, like they need to make revenues. But then you guys had a conversation with Brian last time. It's like, what happens if like one of them has COVID? Like, it's done.
Yeah, then what do you do? What if LeBron James tests positive? Like the king player of your entire sport. Then what happens? You shut everything down?
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Because
right?
Or what if the 15th guy on your bench gets COVID? Is that count the same as LeBron getting COVID? Do you just tell that guy to go home and keep playing because he's such like a nobody in the league? So like there's all these questions on morality, right? Because what would you do if LeBron gets COVID? It's a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
But if some scrub on the Lakers bench gets COVID, like a no-name guy from the G League, then you just send him home, and they would probably just keep playing, right? But that seems kind of fucked up, man.
Adam Morrison. The first thing I think of scrub, I was like,
Adam Morrison. Adam Morrison is so brutal because he has rings. He has championship, like legitimate championship rings.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy. Oh my gosh.
Adam Morrison. Who else was a scrub? But yeah, like, I don't know. We'll see where that goes. I'm just excited just to see basketball.
Yeah, I know. Now I really miss it. Like not being able to read the box scores or look at my fantasy team or even just watch those 10-minute highlight videos on YouTube where they kind of summarize the game and they cut out all the fat. I loved watching those.
Yeah. You know, like I've been through all of those highlights now. Now, like I think I sent you a link yesterday or like last night or a couple of days ago where I had on my YouTube, this is like my old YouTube channel. It's a long story, but yeah, I posted like pickup games that we had. It was you, Brian, me at that gym that we used to rent. Yeah. And like looking at it, and I'm like, man, I miss basketball. And I kept watching it, and I was like, man, I was so fast back then. And this was only like 10 years ago. And like that time, I thought it was garbage. So now, like, I'm thinking, man, if I thought I was good then, man, I must be total ass now. Like, if I play basketball.
You must be ass right now.
Yeah, I think I'm good, but then I'm looking at past videos of myself, and I'm like, whoa, I was pretty good. That means, like, yo, I've digressed, man.
Hey, man, we're getting old.
But still.
It's part of it, right?
But still, like, just to touch the ball, like, shoot it in a hoop, dribble it, like, play with other people. Yeah, I miss that.
Go to the park.
Yeah. As much as I want to go to the park, but, like, you can't. Right?
Yeah, no, you can't. It's not worth it.
Yeah, stay safe, guys.
Yeah, not those people in Toronto, though. Do you see that shit in the park?
Yeah.
That picture from, what was that park called?
Bellwoods?
Yeah, Bellwoods. Oh my gosh, it looked crazy. There was literally like picnic style gatherings where like people would put a mat on the ground. You have like 8 people sitting in a circle, maybe a few inches apart, multiplied by 100. There's people everywhere, and I was just like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah,
like we're never gonna get over this COVID shit.
You know what that is, though? It's like. It's no different than those people that are anti, I don't know what you call it on Queen's Park. Like they were anti-social distancing, like telling
the protesters.
That it was fake. Like they just went from Queen's Park to Bellwoods Park, and then you just add a little more people who think it was a nice weather, and like you get a crowd.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It's really the same people. So
and it's even the people that are educated and smart. I feel like at a certain point you get corona fatigue or pandemic fatigue, right? And then also the fact that we have shitty weather 9 months out of the year and that sun finally comes out and then you're kind of just like, fuck it, I'm going to the park. Like, let's live life, you know? I feel like that people get to that point and there's nothing you can really do to stop them, right?
Yeah, it's like if they don't have other people talking to them, it's hard, right? Like you kind of need to talk to friends and talk to people to make sure like they're okay. But then for the people who don't have anyone to talk to. Like, there's a lot of things that might be going in their mind. Like, it's I could see that it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that may lead to them just going like, fuck it, let's just go, right? Because they don't have any other influencers to talk to say, or to tell them otherwise.
Another thing about the park is I'm actually not innocent of this either. During that same time when all those people went to the park, I went out to a park also myself, but I did it in a smart way. I went at the end of the day, and I went to a park that is relatively unknown, and I saw maybe 5 people there in 2 hours. And so the amount of exposure I had to other people was minimal. Yeah. But if you were to go to that park in downtown Toronto, it's going to be packed. Like, before you leave your house, you already know there's going to be a shitload of people there. So you're already putting yourself in that position where you can negatively affect the community with this whole corona stuff. And I feel like as long as you make a smart decision when you decide to go outside, or when you decide to go to a park or decide to go to a trail, then I can kind of see how you can justify it. But if you don't think about where you're going, man, then I don't know what we're gonna do.
Like, for us, like, we have my wife's parents come over, because they don't do anything except stay at their house and then come here to help us with the kids, right? And then, like, I do the groceries and the pickups, and sometimes like my wife's mother would do the groceries and pickups, but then we wouldn't go anywhere else. So that's kind of breaking it, but also we're kind of being safe about it. So there's, like, you just got to use your common sense, right? Like,
that's true.
If you go for a walk, like, if you see like 10 people, like, you probably want to walk the other direction. But if there's like 3 or 4, like, it's fine, right? The thing I don't get is, like, there's social distancing in the groceries before you walk into the grocery store. So everyone's
line up, right?
Yeah, keeping like 2 meters apart. But, like, once you go in the grocery store, like, it's like free for all, man. Like, people are passing each other, trying to go get fruits, bread.
Oh yeah,
I'm like,
true.
This is not really practicing it, like, once you're in. But like, some things you just have to accommodate for, and just, like, wash up when you get home and stuff like that, right? But
I feel like it goes back to that corona fatigue, where you can wait almost an hour in line to get into a Walmart, but once you actually get in there, you're just like, oh shit, I just wasted an hour in line, and you just want to get all your stuff and you just want to leave. So at that point, you're kind of just like, fuck it, okay, there's a guy here, let's pass by him real quick, and I'll hold my breath, like, as if that's gonna do anything, right? But you know what I mean? I feel like that's the mindset that some people have, and I think that's just natural, right?
Yeah, it's really hard. Like, you can't really put laws or anything into it. It's just like, it's a free country, so people can do what they want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's up to you how you
I don't know. I'm trying to do my part the best I can, but it's hard when you see other people around you just not giving a fuck. Like, for example, on my street, when the weather finally started getting nice, was it last week? There was a bunch of kids playing basketball on their driveway. They have a net, right? And there's 4 brothers that live there. And they play every day. So I'm okay, they all live in the same house. They're brothers. But then one day I drove by, and they're having like a 4-on-4 with kids of all nationalities. So I'm like, okay, there's 4 brothers, and then there's 4 other kids that are obviously all completely different just based off their nationality, right? So you have 5 different potential families playing a 4-on-4 basketball game with no social distancing whatsoever. And then when they're done, all those kids are dispersing into their homes with their parents, and who knows who else lives there. And they're playing not just one day, like they're playing on Saturday, they're playing on Sunday. And I was like, holy shit. So that those 5 different families have all got in contact with one another just because of their kids.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's dumb, but to me,
what are you supposed to do, right?
To me,
I don't know what you're supposed to do.
You could call 311, but you know.
Oh yeah, you can be a snitch. Snitch on some 10-year-olds.
Honestly, if I saw that, the first time I saw that, if I saw that for the first time, I'd be like, damn, I'm jealous. Like, fuck you kids. Oh, because
you want to play ball.
Yeah, I was like, fuck you kids, I want to play. But then, as it gets carried away, like, if it comes the next day and then the day after, I'm like, no, this is like you can't keep adding more kids. Like, it's fine if it was just like family or like your next door neighbor, but if it's like a gang, like, holy crap.
Bro, I should have snitched. I should have snitched on them. One of those kids is annoying as fuck, man. One of those kids, he thinks it's funny that when a car drives by, he tries to kick the basketball over your car onto the other side of the road, like while you're driving.
It's not right.
And I'm like, what if? Okay, of course he tries to kick it high, right? But what if he miskicks it and he beelines it into my window? It's like, what the fuck, right? What if I swerve and then I get into an accident or something? I'm like, yo, one of these kids, I should snitch on him straight up, just be an old crusty, irritated man.
And then just like stand right outside your driveway and just give him like a smirk. Be like, that was me. Yo, get inside your house.
It's so brutal, man. But like, what are you supposed to do? Because that kid is just, he's just being thrown outside all day. He's bored. His parents are not paying him any attention. So I get it, right? He needs something to do, and he thinks it's funny to kick a ball over a moving car, right? And his parents never supervise him, and it's kind of rough. Right? I don't blame the kid. I kind of blame the parents for being shitty parents, but I'm like, what are you supposed to do when a kid like that is just openly doing crazy shit, and on top of that, he's interacting physically with kids from 4 other families that could all be exposed to someone that has COVID, right? It's really scary. What if one of those kids gets it somehow, brings it back to their house, which goes to a grandparent, right? Because that's the most dangerous thing when an older person gets it, right? And then, like, who's to blame for that? It's rough.
Yeah. 311, man. Just call 311.
Call through. So when you call that, where does it go to the cops?
I don't know. So it must be going to like a different line because my parents. So this happened, right? Like, my parents' house got broken into, and when we called,
really? When? Yeah, recently?
I would say like September, October. Yeah.
So
it was before
months
COVID.
Ago or so?
Yeah. They were out of the country, but my aunt's still there, right? But she stepped out for maybe like 2 hours, but then when she came home, like shit was ransacked, man. But besides the case, yes, like someone like tore down the door, and then like everything was scattered on the floor. They were looking for drugs, like that's what the police said. But besides that, like the whole process was like we called 911, and then they said if it's not a life and death situation, they give you like another line to call to, and then you get queued into this other
police?
line. Yeah, for the police. It's like non-life life and death line situations. So I would think
that makes
like
sense.
Yeah, so if it wasn't like a life and death situation, I'm pretty sure you would be put to like another line. But then because of the situation, you never know, right? Like you could get some immediate responses.
Yeah, what if someone is still in the house? Like, you don't know if someone's still in the house, so wouldn't you just call 911 anyway?
Yeah, so I was getting agitated because it was taking. So when I called them, they said, yeah, someone will be over, and it was taking like an hour for someone to come. And then I called again, and I'm like, I'm gonna go in the house, but I don't know who's in there.
Exactly, you don't know if the person could still be in there.
Right, so I was kind of just like, I need someone to come, because it's friggin' cold. Yeah, I think this was like November. Yeah, it's cold outside, and like it's late. It's like 1 a.m. And they're like, yeah, why? Well, don't go in the house. Like, I can't advise you to go in the house, but don't go in the house because it's still dangerous. I'm like, well, send someone. So
They
then
wouldn't send someone.
Yeah, so like after an hour I did that, and then within like 10 minutes a guy came. Like,
Was it a police officer?
Yeah, it was a police officer. They just
Okay.
they just route based on priority.
Oh, I see. Based on the priority of the call that they got.
Yeah, if it's life and death, then for sure they'll send someone. But if it's like a breaking and entering, they probably don't treat it as seriously unless you say like, I have a firearm in the house and they could still be in there.
Oh,
then they'll be
okay,
like,
so-
oh shoot, yeah. But like you can't really lie, right? Or else like they'll
Mhm.
come and then they'll find nothing, and you'll get insured.
So they just assume that it's a robbery that's over and there's no more risk of life.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like lower on their list of things to attend to.
yeah, that's how I see
makes
it.
sense. I get it, because cops, they have more important things to do, especially if there's like domestic abuse or like some type of murder or hostage situation or something crazy, right?
Yeah.
But still, though, man, that's scary. Holy shit! Did they take anything? Like, what happened to their possessions?
So they didn't take anything. They were looking for cash, or drugs. The police said they were
Cash
looking
or drugs?
They were looking for drugs, basically, or jewelry that they could just sell off right away.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, it was so funny though because my aunt was like, and JC was out for a party or something. So this was like a Friday night, and the police was like, write down things that you're missing. So then my aunt was like, oh, I'm missing like 5,000 pesos. That's like $100 Canadian, I think. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think it's like 100 something. I don't know the exchange rate, but it's not a lot. But then my brother came back from Japan, right? And then on his desk there was like 1,000 yen, right?
Oh shit!
So they took my aunt's money, but they didn't take the yen, and I'm like,
Which is
man.
worth more.
It was
than
just
the
worth
pesos.
more,
Yeah.
right? But
'Cause
like,
yen is worth a lot.
oh yeah, but like it makes sense because they were just trying to see, like they basically took a bunch of papers or like whatever they could find on the tables and just like scatter them all over the floor. It's just because they could see it easier, right? I would assume that the lights were off, so that's probably why like they couldn't see the yen. They just had like a flashlight because they didn't want to bring too much attention from like the neighbors or anything.
Yeah, for sure. And they want to be quick too.
Yeah. So yeah, like it's just a random thing that happened. I think they were probably observing the house for a couple days.
For
just
sure.
to see
Like
who
they're
was
like
leaving.
staking it out.
Yeah. So yeah, the police officer said they're usually in and out in like 5 to 7 minutes. So
Oh wow.
it's
Actually,
insane.
that makes sense because they don't want to get caught, right? They got to be quick.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess this is just for everyone's knowledge. It's like even if you have an alarm, it probably takes like 20-30 seconds to call, and then once you call like the alarm system, the person like ADT will dispatch the police, and that will take another 20-30 seconds. So by then it's like a minute almost, right? And then it takes another like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes for the police to get there. And it's just like a breaking and entering, so it's not like life and death. So by then it's like 5 minutes has passed. They've already broken into your house.
They took everything and they're gone. By then they're gone.
And then they're gone, right? So you can't really like prevent it. You could put like cameras, but like, if they can identify the person who's like who they're looking for, they can probably identify it. But if it's just some random, like it's probably hard to find them.
Oh, true. Dang,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. The funny thing was, because they were looking for drugs, so they opened the fridge, and in the freezer we had like a box of frozen shrimp. It was like all the way at the entrance of like the foyer of the house. I'm like, what the heck are these like box of shrimps doing in the front of the house? Like, were they hungry?
What?
Yeah.
Took the shrimp out of the freezer? And
Yeah,
then-
they took the shrimps out of the freezer, and then it was like on the floor of the foyer
by the front door.
Yeah, of the front door. And I'm like,
What?
They were in a rush, but I'm like, why would they take shrimps?
Okay. Yeah, why would you take shrimp? What? That's so weird.
Yeah, like the shrimp robbers.
The shrimp robbers. Oh, you know what? Now I remembered something. I think it was last year. I was really into Reddit AMAs, those Ask Me Anythings, and I saw one that was titled "I used to be a house burglar AMA," and I was like, "Oh shit, this is gonna be a crazy thread, right?" And I remember reading it, and I read the entirety of his post. I read some of the replies, but mostly just what the original poster wrote. And he was saying he would spend up to 7 days scouting out a house, and he would write down the tendencies of the owners, like when they would leave, when they would go to the gym, if they would go grocery shopping on Sunday, right? So he would get a rough estimate of how much time he had to work with and on what days that he could hit the house. And after about 1 or 2 weeks of intel, then he would plan his break-in, right? And what he said is, it was kind of interesting. He said he avoided any house that had dogs and any house that looked like they had plexiglass windows or something. And I was like, what the hell? What the hell is that? I'm like, a plexiglass window? How do you even know what that is? And apparently he said a plexiglass window is really hard to shatter. And dogs will bark a lot, which will trigger like the neighbors, right? So he said those two things are always like a big no. And he said that whenever he would rob a house, he was looking for exactly what you were saying. He was looking for jewelry or things that like gold, silver that he can quickly pawn at a pawn shop and make quick cash. And that he actually had morals, which was very bizarre. He said he would always take jewelry except if it looked like an engagement ring, because he said that an engagement ring probably had sentimental value to the owner of the house. And he wasn't a shitty human being. He was just in a position in his life where he was struggling financially. So he actually had boundaries of the type of jewelry he would steal, which was very bizarre. And I think this is why the AMA got posted to, or got bumped up to the top, or bumped up to the front page of Reddit, is because this guy actually had morals in terms of robbing someone, which is so crazy. Because you would think if you're robbing a stranger, you would just take
whatever.
Yeah, you would just take anything. You would take whatever you see, right? But this guy, he had standards, which was so strange. And he was saying, like, even if you have a camera, he wouldn't care because it doesn't do anything. But if you had a dog, or if you had a sign, beware of dog, then he would immediately not even try. And he said the majority of times of his break-ins was between 1 and 2 p.m. because this was either one of two things. He said you're at work, working a 9 to 5 or an 8 to 4, so you're not home, or you're out for you live at home or whatever at home, but you're out for lunch. So, and he would use that 10-minute window during those time frames to hit up these houses. And it was like the craziest AMA thread that I ever read, because this guy came off as really genuine, and he came off as a pretty smart and articulate guy. And his reasoning for robbing people, I almost felt was justified, which is very strange, right? So, I don't know. It's just a weird thing that I just remembered about robberies.
You should get him on your podcast.
Should DM him.
Yeah, you want to come to my podcast?
Yeah, and talk about robbing houses.
Just put like a blur on his face and like.
Oh man.
Distort his voice.
Did your parents get anything from like insurance, or like what happened?
Yeah, so they had to list everything. They had two options: either to replace the things that they listed in cash, or the other option was replace them as like just find the replacement for them. Like so my brother got his MacBook stolen.
Oh shit, that sucks.
So yeah, if you had the receipts for them, if you wanted it, you had the option to either this is all or nothing, right? So either get reimbursed in cash or replace the item with another MacBook of equal or lesser value.
Okay.
Yeah. But obviously, like, they usually say, like, like talking to a bunch of people, they usually say like it will reduce, like if you want it in cash, they will look at the value of your MacBook and reduce it in like half or whatever. So better to just get the item replaced so that they have to go find it.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah. So then that's what they did. They said replace the items, but then they couldn't find it, so they gave them cash for it.
Oh my gosh.
They gave them the money for it. Yeah. No, it was like 80% of the value. It was pretty good.
Well, that's so good.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
But what if you have like a 2014 MacBook? Like that's probably not worth that much. Would they replace it with a 2020 MacBook? Like how does that work?
Yeah, so they couldn't figure it out, right? So they just gave
As long as you give the money.
Yeah, as long as you have the receipts for them and the value of them, then they'll take that value and just put a rate on it. So even if your MacBook was like 2011,
yeah,
and it was like $1,000, they'd still give you like 800 for it, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's still good, man.
Yeah,
because it would depreciate more than $200.
Yeah, for all they know, like could have been like a brick, like just balancing your table, but you had the receipt for it. Could just be
some bullshit, right?
It's not what I'm saying, but
did your parents lose anything like irreplaceable, like anything of sentimental value?
No, like iPad, like aside from the MacBook, my mom's iPad was still there.
Wait, the iPad was still there?
Yeah, they didn't take the iPad. Credit cards were still there. Old credit cards, old passports, other passports were still there. Yeah, like documents were still there. Like nothing was taken. They were just looking for stuff.
So straight up money and drugs, and nothing else.
And pesos.
What the heck? That's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy, man.
I don't think that's ever happened to anyone in my family, not that I know of. But I know once our neighbor got robbed. And the only reason we knew is I think I was off school early or something, and my dad was home early and he picked me up, and we came home and my dad literally saw the robber like exit the back door and jump the fence. Like
yeah, I think he told me that. Yeah, I think he told me that.
Oh, he told you that?
No, you told me that.
Oh yeah, it happened. Like we saw him just out the back door, over the fence into the park, and then just running. And then we saw like the front door kicked open, right?
Yeah,
it's like, dang, that sucks, man.
Hey, did you hear about like the Australia, Korea, and Hong Kong creating like these apps for COVID?
No, what do they do?
So I'll go back to the Hong Kong one after, but apparently Australia, North Korea, South Korea, and even
Korea,
even like North America, like Canada and the US, they're starting to like pitch for apps where you explicitly say that you have COVID, and then it tells you, like if you download the app, it tells you if there is a person nearby who has COVID. So it's like a geo-sensing. Man. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like intrusive, but like just to keep the safety.
About that.
I know, right? But it's like, so going to Hong Kong, they actually have like notifications or like beeps that you're like, not necessarily that you have COVID. It's probably like a different beep, but if your distance within another person is less than whatever the threshold is, 2 meters or 6 feet, then it starts to beep like erratically.
Then it starts to beep to let you know.
Yeah, to like get the fuck away, right?
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. And yeah, my uncle who lives in Australia.
Rough, man.
My uncle who lives in Australia actually showed me the app. I forgot what it was called, but it was like you put in if you have COVID, and then as long as other people have the app, it tells you like if you're nearby a person who has it. Yeah, that's like, it's next level.
That's crazy, man. Because I'm not worried about the invasion of privacy part because of the app. I'm worried about say the government getting power of something like that and not letting it go. Yeah. And then now they have a permanent way to track you of where you've been or where you're going. That's what I'm ultimately scared of. Like, sure, I understand the app, the intentions are good because you're trying to prevent the spread of the disease, right? And, it makes sense. Like, your head is in a good place. But that type of technology, if you have a significant amount of people that sign up for that type of app, and then say the government takes over, especially in the US, and they, monopolize or control that, oh, man, that's scary, man. Because then what is privacy then? Yeah, you don't have it, right?
It's insane. It's like Big Brother.
Exactly.
There's like talks of like having it compliance, like enforcing it in the government, but then the government's like rejecting it because of the privacy issues.
Yeah, there's
right?
no way that's gonna fly.
Yeah,
because no one's gonna accept that.
Yeah, because they're pitching like, oh no, it's not intrusive. It's not taking any data. It's just like, it's like geofencing or just like in close proximity of another person. But still, like, if you sell it one way of like making it just COVID, what's another person or the government saying, oh, we can do this for other things too? Like, let's do it not just for COVID. Let's do it for like criminals or whatever.
Wow. It's being scared of the what if. Like the what if it can become, right? Yeah. That's what I'm scared about.
Yeah, it's giving like more control to giving
I don't know,
out your
man.
information.
I don't know how I feel about all that kind of stuff. It's kind of before I never really cared. I could care less, but now that your phones are listening into you, your laptop cameras, people can hack in and watch you. Like, fuck, man. What is privacy? Like, do we even have it anymore? And now you want to give away your location of every moment in the day because you might possibly have a pandemic disease. Like, fuck, I don't know. That stuff's scary, bro.
It's insane.
Like, what if the government mandates something like that and they make it law? Like, what would happen to our society? It'd be madness.
Yeah, no, you like if you did that and there was an app to already control your location, what's the government saying? Like, just finding you through the app. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, you stepped out of your boundaries. Now let's fine you like $50.
Yeah, exactly. Give you a fine, right?
Yeah. Why are you out at like 10:00? Here's another $100.
The other thing I'm scared of too is because this has happened many times by the government before, where they'll say, oh, it's a state of emergency. This person is a serial killer. We need to take over your app's location device system and locate this individual because he's a threat to our country. And so the government takes a stance that they're taking the moral high ground by using this technology to get rid of someone from society that's a threat. But then a lot of the time when that happens, right, you're giving them this power, and you run the risk of them not giving it back, right? And who's to say that they go, oh, this is required for Canadians. We need this to keep Canadians safe. And then they keep that type of power, right? Like, that's what I'm always ultimately worried about when it comes to providing the government with our location of every single minute of every single day, right?
Yeah. I think companies have to do their due diligence too. Like, Apple told the government to fuck off because they wanted to like hack into one person's phone, right? So that's good on them, I guess, right? Like, they wouldn't go into someone's phone even though they had a backdoor, but that's like, there's still trust in companies and people. Hopefully the government doesn't get carried away.
Yeah, I'm always worried about that kind of stuff, specifically more in America, because they have like a really bad history and rap of that kind of, that kind of stuff. But that's not to say it can't happen in Canada too, because we're pretty close to the US, right, in terms of our relationship with them and supporting the type of things they do in terms of government. But I don't know, man, if if the Canadian government wants to do something like that, where you're required to pinpoint your location of every moment of every day just because you've tested positive for the coronavirus, okay, you're trying to prevent the spread of virus, but can you guarantee that some third party or the government won't use that information in another way that you don't consent to, right? Because then it becomes a matter of your consent. Are you giving consent to the government just because of corona? Or are they going to ask you for your consent if they're tracking you for something else? Because no, they won't, right? If say they have an emergency, they're just going to track you, and they're not going to ask for your consent, right? And then you get into this whole gray area of what is privacy, what is freedom, and it gets rough, man.
Yeah, and that's when we think the crazy people down in Queens Park aren't that crazy after all.
Yeah, then all those guys are like, see, I told you so. And all those like doomsday preppers that build bunkers and hoard like rice and pasta. Those guys deep down, they're like, yeah, corona, I told all you people, because they want to be right.
It's just
they
like
want to be able to justify their decisions, right?
It's like Little Nicky.
Little Nicky.
I was right, I told you. The devil lives.
I was right. I told you so.
The devil incarnate.
Man. Is that Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
Bro, that's an old movie, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's another thing I miss, too, is movies. I miss going to the theater.
Yo, I haven't gone to the theater in... Actually, I lied. I went to watch Star Wars. That was the only time I went to a theater. Well, before that...
The newest one?
Yeah, the newest one. Yeah.
Oh. Did you get a blue Icee?
Yeah, I had to tell that story to like the people. I was watching it with coworkers during workout. It was like Christmas time, right? So it was like middle of the day. We watched it, and yeah. All right. So the story of the blue Icee. I'm So I'm allergic to a bunch of things.
Pork.
One of them being pork.
Which is bizarre.
It's bizarre, yeah. And it's not like I eat pork and then I go into anaphylactic shock like as soon as a pork touches my mouth. No, it's like a 30-minute to an hour delay, and then I start getting hives, start getting itchy, start heating up, and then all of a sudden, like, it's not an anaphylactic shock, but like I freeze, like I sweat and then I freeze. So then I have to catch it before that happens. So what I do is I take Benadryl, like 10 minutes after I've eaten it. But going back to the blue Icee, so me and Juan, we set up a date to watch Superman Returns, or Man of Steel. Oh no, it's the Batman versus Superman.
Okay, so
whatever.
Two bros going to the movie theater.
Two bros, and you know how like we're so immature. We put like a seat between us because we didn't want to make it look like we're partners or anything. I'm like, bro, like, you can sit beside me, man. But that was going in my head. But then anyways.
Oh my god.
So there's a gap between us. I ordered a blue slushie because that's what like my wife used to order. And I was like, oh, I haven't had this in a while, so I have blue Icee. So I take it like midway through the movie. I'm like sipping on it. I'm like halfway done, and then midway through, I'm like, dude, I gotta go to the washroom because I'm not feeling well.
He's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I had to take a shit. So that's what happens, right? Like my
Icee shit.
My stomach starts hurting, and I think that I need to take a shit, but it's just like my stomach churning, right? So I gotta sit.
Yeah.
I gotta sit in the stall, and this was like midway through the movie, and I'm sitting there for like 15 minutes, and Juan's like, dude, where the fuck are you? I'm like, yo, I'm in the washroom, don't worry, I'll be out. And I knew, like, from that moment, I was like, fuck, it's happening, right? Like, I started sweating, my stomach started churning, and like I froze, right? Like sweats, and I literally like passed out on the toilet seat. I don't know how. Like
in the movie theater, watching you passed out on the toilet.
I blacked out, bro. Like, so before I blacked out, Juan messaged me, right? And then I messaged Ivy, and she was like, I told her like, yo, come in. This was at Courtney Park. Come and bring like Reactin, Benadryl, bring whatever. And then that was it, right? She's like, oh my God. And that was the last thing I saw. And then I blank out. I think I blanked out for like,
you blacked out with
20 minutes. Yeah.
Pants on your ankles?
No, I was like in child's pose, man. Like my head was down and I was just like passed out. Yeah, to the point where like I could have tipped over and just fell on the ground. But yeah, I woke up so sweaty and my phone rang like a couple times because Ivy was already there, like outside. There's a dude that actually came in. It's like, sir, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm coming out. And then I took Benadryl. And then Juan like called me like a couple times. He's like, yo, where the fuck are you? And then I message him and I'm like, yo, bro, I'm driving home. Sorry, man. I had an allergic reaction. He's like, what? What the fuck? I'm like, long story. I'll tell you tomorrow. And then God. Like the next time I hear from him, he's like, yo, fucking guy just like ditched me halfway through the movie. He just left. Like I didn't see him after that. He's like, yo, listen, bro, like I'm sorry.
Then you told him the real story?
Yeah, I told him the real story. Not because I didn't want to like sit with him anymore. I just left halfway because it was just getting too awkward with him, right?
Because you had the blue Icee shit.
Yeah, that blue Icee stuff, man. It's intense. But the things that you gotta go through, like bacon,
that's life,
like,
man.
Like I can't eat too much bacon.
Because it's pork.
Or else I'll get into an allergic reaction. But then when like Ivy cooks bacon, or like when there's bacon being cooked, I'm like, oh, I'm home.
Oh, it smells so good.
I'm just gonna try one and see what happens.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. So you're willing to risk it?
Yeah. Well, it's not like with you, right? You had allergies like growing up, so you knew like, do not eat that shit.
Yeah, it was like fatal, so I knew not to eat it.
Yeah, or like it was ingrained in you. Whereas like I've been eating anything like my whole life, and then all of a sudden you tell me I can't eat pork. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, yo, I'm gonna eat pork whether or not.
So it came to you later in life.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Hey man, that's a pretty epic falling asleep on the toilet story.
Yeah, no, like
Holy
that was epic. Like Superman versus Batman. Never forget that movie, even though I haven't watched.
Never forget that.
Even though I haven't finished watching it.
Hey, one day you will.
Yeah, and it'll bring back memories of Blue Icee.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, bro, we just did an hour.
Oh, nice.
That was sick. I think we'll end the podcast on the falling asleep on the toilet story with the Blue Icee. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. You can
all right, bro. Anything else you want to say? Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. It was a good chat. Glad to be back anytime soon. I don't know, like, I don't know if I'll have a YouTube channel. I had a YouTube channel before. But we'll see.
Plug it.
We'll see. It's RR from the North. You'll go there. You'll
from the North.
You'll find nothing. I have like 2 subscribers right now.
Oh man.
I follow Derek. I follow Derek's podcast. I follow Brian Primetime, and I follow a bunch of like baby videos, like cartoon videos, because my kids watch through my YouTube account.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
that's all in your list.
Yeah, I do have some videos out there that I've played around with, but it's more for like family stuff, like trips and stuff. It's interesting. Like I play around with the transitions. Like,
hey man, that's awesome.
But yeah.
Well, anyways, thanks for coming, bro. Well, maybe we'll do it again.
Thanks for having me, Doug.
Yeah, man. That's it. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here. Peace. That was awesome, bro.
Yeah, it was fun.